and welcome to another tuber-tastic episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Catherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach. I have lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 7 years.
Wow.
And with me today is...
Donald Weigel, a fan of tubers, and I am a host of this show. I've lost about 100 pounds and kept it off for about 7 years, and we are here to talk about it.
Yeah, and I like to think of potatoes as vegetables.
Yeah.
But they're tubers, but they're still, like, is the phylum, I can't remember if there's, like, the kingdom and then the phylum and then the whatever.
And then there's the Lannisters and the, no, wait, that's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I couldn't think of one other house in Game of Thrones all of a sudden.
I might have liked Game of Thrones more if she was the mother of potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Because potatoes are so, like, potatoes are the best.
Yeah.
I think I like potatoes more than you like potatoes, though.
I think that might be true, although, like, I do love potatoes, but generally I like them fried. I like your hash browns and your French fries.
Yeah,
I'm not quite as big on the baked potato or the mashed potato as you.
Yeah, but there are times where I'm like, this potato, I found out a new way to make a potato. And you're like, it's basically just about the stuff I can put on the potato. It's just a vehicle. Like, you think of it as like a transportation device where I love it for itself.
Well, I have often thought of most food as a transportation device for the things I put on top of it.
For condiments.
The condiments and the accoutrement.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've ever seen myself nor you more passionate as when that 1970s, like, it wasn't a commercial, it was more of like a PSA of, like, the don't drown your food guy. There was this little cartoon jerk guy who was like, don't drown your food in syrup or ketchup or goop or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm like, go
it,
back to where you came from.
I think it was sort of like the Schoolhouse Rock. It was like from that family of cartoons, and it was basically like stop putting condiments on your food.
And I was like, I don't need this kind of negative.
I'm still mad about it.
I am too.
It was probably literally 50 years ago, and I'm still angry over it.
And I think the problem with it is that, like, I don't have a ketchup problem. Like, I can stop ketchup whenever I want to.
I can't.
But I didn't get to, like, almost like 100 pounds more than I am right now because I put condiments on things. Right. Like, that's like, I just eat it like just plain. Like, it's sweetness in itself. Like, potatoes are sweet by themselves if you do. Like, really? Come on now. We don't need that kind of negativity.
I know. It's really irritating.
It's
People
a red
are like,
herring.
a raw almond. It really, like, you get the naturalness
of
the almond. I know. I like
raw.
I like roasted.
Oh, but we still make it work, everybody.
I know.
We still make it work.
But here, it just not to get off on a thing, not the topic of today's episode, but we've kind of turned it around and made it pump up the volume, which is put more stuff on your food.
Wow, I hadn't really thought about the whiplash effect that we have.
I know. I've been working all these years to counteract the effects of don't drown your food.
But okay, this actually ties into things. Recently, someone in WOLT Place, We Only Look Thin Place, talked about feeling sort of guilty about posting delicious food in our subgroup. We have a group called WOLT Plates. It sounds like place, but it's a plate.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And I was like, what is better than getting away with eating food that you really like?
Right.
Like, instead of like, I'm just going to post broccoli and chicken. Like,
steamed.
Just raw. I just eat tofu out of the box. Just raw.
Man.
I don't eat, it's sweet on its own.
I actually really like tofu, but I'm not eating it straight out of a box. That's not happening.
But the idea of, like, getting away with eating the foods that you love while also losing weight.
Yeah.
Super duper fun.
Yeah. No,
super fun.
That's the goal, really.
Well, and I know that when I did Atkins and cabbage soup things, which shall not be named. Actually, I just named it, so I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, we're not going to name the cabbage soup diet.
Okay, you can lose weight as long as you never eat a potato again. You can lose weight as long as you never... ketchup. Ketchup was really what was doing you in. Like,
absolutely.
That's not good. But what is better than being able to work in the foods that you love into your plan, especially at the holiday season?
It's the holiday season.
It is, and hoop-dee-doo.
And don't forget to
Yeah.
hang up your
We're
sock.
not going to sing at you. We're not the only...
I just did, kind of. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, it's fine. But let's take it back to this tubertastic holiday, which is upon us in America, called Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
It is a potato-based holiday.
Yeah.
In which I, even in the before times when it was just maybe me and Donald and a family member, just a small little cozy get-together.
Yeah.
I would buy a 5-pound bag of potatoes for 3 people.
Yeah.
But like above all of the other things, because gotta have enough mashed potatoes, gotta have all the potatoes.
Well, everyone needs 1.5 pounds each of potatoes.
Well, because Thanksgiving was... If I didn't have a week's worth of leftovers, like why even make the dinner if you don't have leftovers, which we have talked about before.
Yeah.
But I'm going to first start before we get into the meat and mashed potatoes of this episode.
I see what you did there.
I'm going to give you the top 5 ways to enjoy potatoes at the holidays.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I did some internet research.
Really?
I looked at some things. Every family has their own tradition, but we're going to bring you our like the number one.
So this is a well-vetted scientific list of the best ways to enjoy. Okay, yeah. I genuinely didn't know this was happening, everyone.
As a people.
Okay.
Like everyone's like, oh, mashed potatoes, what? But okay, but here are some other ways to enjoy potatoes.
Yeah.
So there are people who enjoy the scalloped potato,
right?
Which is like a sliced thing in a gooey sauce or whatever. The twice baked potato casserole.
Yeah,
I think like 2 times you're going to bake that. That's a lot of times.
I mean, then I bake mine 3 times, and like, which one are you going to have?
Thrice baked potato.
Yeah, the thrice baked. I mean, like the thrice baked is at least 50% better than the twice baked.
I think that is just when you microwave it the day after that becomes the thrice baked potato. Okay, there's also the Hasselback potato, which is like a sliced potato. It's like
David Hasselhoff?
No, Hasselback.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there's a Hasselback. Look it up if you want to. And then there's the roasted new potato, which just seems like very fancy. Like, come on now. I don't need Hasselbacks and casseroles. Just give me a potato.
I prefer old potatoes because they have more experience.
Oh, see, I think that's just ageism.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the number one way to enjoy a potato at the holiday season is the math potato.
Oh!
The math potato. M-A-T-H.
Do the math potato.
It's really fun when you get to spell things on a podcast so people know what the comedy is about. We are going to hit you today with the math of the holidays. And I disguised it just like you would medicine in a piece of bologna for a dog.
Yeah.
We tricked you into thinking that this was about potatoes when really it's about math.
That's right. That's right. So take your medicine, listeners.
Nothing says fun more like hiding truth inside of a potato.
Oh my goodness. And like, what's more fun than discovering math when you open a present?
Oh my gosh. That's so terrible.
I know, it's the worst.
That's so terrible.
But you just did it. You're like, oh, look, here's a fun Jack in the Box. Turn the handle, and then it pops up, and it's math problems.
Oh, I should have actually said a jacket potato for our friends across the pond. But they don't have Thanksgiving, but it's fine. You're just going to, you thought it was a potato, but really there's maths inside.
I don't know if they have anything similar to Thanksgiving.
No, I think maybe they were happy to get rid of us. Maybe it was like when we left for the colonies. Maybe they were like,
is Guy Fawkes Day like a big food holiday?
No, I think they set things on fire.
St. Crispin's Day or something?
I am not sure. Anyway, let's not alienate more people.
Yeah,
let's just idea. So I tricked you into thinking this was about potatoes. It is not. It's about math.
Yeah.
So at the holiday season, in the past, in the before times, before we got our potatoes on straight, I would see it as a personal challenge to try to fit in as many calories and as many food excuses as I could between, say, Halloween and New Year.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
And that would generally lead to me gaining between 5 to 10, 12, 15 pounds in the last 2 months of the year, undoing all of the progress that I had made, if I had made any. And again, why did I gain so much weight? Like, I eat salad sometimes. What's the problem? And it turned out that I went
to the gym once. Why am I still gaining weight?
Exactly. So we are challenging you. And if you're listening to this, you're already, yay for success. It's the holiday season and you are still listening to We Only Look Thin. So thank you very much. But before we get into new math, which the kids are doing now, let's get into the old math of last year. Yay, Catherine. I'm so excited. Please. I'm going to listen to this on 1.5 speed so I can learn about math faster.
Oh, there's only one thing better than new math, and that's old math. Yeah.
So we are going to look at last year. And the first question to ask is, how do you feel about how you did last year at the holidays? Did you find that you were accurately tracking throughout the holiday season? Did you gain weight? Did you maybe gain a little, but not as much as in the past? I actually did a Zoom yesterday where someone said, they only gained a few pounds, where in the past they would have gained a lot. So even gaining less is definitely progress.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Cards on the table, I have been, the last 2 holiday seasons in particular, I have done the thing that we advise everyone not to do, which is to gain a bunch of weight in the last month, 6 weeks of the year, and then struggle for the next 6 months of the following year.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
To take it back off, yeah.
But it definitely happens of I'm just ramping back up is really difficult. I know for me, if we're looking at last year, I feel like I did very well during the, I don't think we did a huge Thanksgiving thing. We've kind of dialed back Thanksgiving for ourselves, but I did pretty well in December up until we went on vacation. We went back to visit family.
Yeah.
And what I know about myself, and this is kind of what it looks like, or the question we're asking is, what do you notice in terms of trends for yourself? Do you give up for the entire month of December? Do you just stop tracking altogether? What I notice about me is that I do well at home. I can control the refrigerator. I can control my activity. Things are predictable. But even after all of these years, 6, 7 years of doing the podcast, I don't track when I go on vacation. I just don't. If I'm in somebody else's house, if I'm on vacation, I just don't track. But that doesn't mean I don't have policies in place. But the week that we were away, I kind of used it as a big food excuse because we were in our hometown. And literally, not even joking, went to the bakery across from my high school. And I told them that I was visiting. They gave me free thing. They gave me a bag full of oh, you're home. Here, take all these delicious foods. And I ate them because they were delicious. But I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying that that's what happened. And I was up 5 pounds by January 1st. So what happened to you last year? What do you notice about your trends?
Yeah. And I think that I'm trying to commit this year to not doing what I've done the last 2 years and really try to at least maintain through the holiday season as we move forward.
Okay. So now now that you've looked at last year, I am going to throw some math in your face. It's a food fight, but it's math and numbers at your face right now. So, let's just say that you're Catherine, I'm just going to stop listening now. I don't need to deal with this. You're going to do some rah-rah New Year episode, New You, 25 and 25, whatever. Please listen, because I have some math for you, and maybe it will sober you to your future choices.
And this math is fun. It's not fun. Like the math you're used to.
No. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out. Here we go. Donald doesn't even know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So as this episode is coming out, there are 37 days until New Year. Okay, 37, I just won't track for 37 days. It's fine. That's not that much. Okay, so let's just pretend I'm not this. Okay, that's 888 hours.
Yeah.
That's 53,280 minutes.
Well, you didn't have to tell me that. I knew that.
Yeah. Okay, but let's just literally look at it. Okay, this is a lot of numbers. That's fine. Okay, but that means that if you're eating 3 squares a day, that's 111 meals. Are you really going to just be 111 meals? Let's just tank up on every single one. And if you're like me, I have a morning snack, afternoon snack, and then a dessert. That's 111 snacks. You're telling me right now, every single one of those, that is 222 food opportunities that you're just going to dive into.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
That's a lot of food, right? Okay, so what if you do a zero tracking free-for-all? That's actually the question that I posed. I'm very wordy.
I would gain probably 47 pounds.
Right. Okay, so let's just say, and this is me in years past, I would easily eat 3,500 calories a day.
Yeah.
Like, it's I'm cinnamon rolls every day. I'm going to test out pies.
I think that's genuinely really conservative for me. I mean, based on when I was tracking free-for-alls back in the day, I think it was over 4,000 pretty regularly every day. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much. Okay, so let's just say that you are eating whatever you want every single day for the next 37 days. So let's just say conservatively, that's 3,500 calories a day times 37 days is 129,500 calories. That ends up being 2.4 calories a minute. I don't know.
That is useful information.
I know. I don't know why.
I'm eating 2.4 calories a minute.
But I feel like there's like a stopwatch or whatever. Like I'm
just imagining like I take one bite every minute.
So that could be like one little tiny taste of Jell-O every minute. Don't
without
sleep.
sleeping. Right.
Okay. So let's just round it up. 130,000 calories.
Yeah.
Through the end of the year.
That's easier to remember.
Right. So let's say that you eat at maintenance. Let's pretend it's 2,000 calories. Like that's still like, 2,000 calories a day. Like that's a lot. So that's 74,000 calories. That is much less.
Wait a minute, 74,000 is less than 130,000?
It is. I can't remember.
That's mind-boggling.
It's less than 50% less calories, but it's a lot less. Okay. So let's just say that you're like, that's a lot. It's 1.9 times more food. There we go.
Yeah.
I already did the math. Okay, so thank you, me of the future. So let's just pretend, like, if you're looking at that and you are thinking, like, okay, well, if I'm going to overeat every single day, like, that's not a big deal. Like, what's that going to do? So I did math. I'm not going to show you the math, but let's just say you're eating 1,500 calories more a day than you need to. That literally ends up being a 15 pound gain.
Yeah.
Through the end of the year.
That's not great.
Like, go to the store right now, pause the episode, don't pause it yet. I'm going to tell you what to do. Go to the store, pick up 3 5-pound bags of potatoes.
Yeah.
And then just carry those around for the next 37 days. See how you feel.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
I don't think that I want to do that.
Okay.
Also, I think about how all the times I said to myself, well, next year, this year's a wash. I'm just going to give up for the rest of this year, and then I will start next year. Imagining starting from an additional 15 pounds that I have to lose. It's standing in a hole and saying, I really need to get out of this hole, but I'm going to wait until next year. And you know what? While I'm waiting for next year, I'm just going to dig the hole deeper.
Right.
as I go.
So in January, we are changing the name of the podcast to We Don't Look Thin.
That's right.
We used to, we don't. So we are going to take control of our holiday season by really paying attention to what we can manage during the holidays and what we can actually prioritize in terms of food choices throughout the rest of the year. If we take a little bit of time back, if we're able to, and like quite literally, if we're able to like look at it and go like, you know what, next week, that's not a big week for me. I can eat at a deficit this week. And then I'm going to really enjoy the big holiday party.
Yeah.
Like, that feels much better than just saying, oh my gosh, I'm bedeviled with I can't do anything. Because we're going to wake up with that 15-pound prize. It's not a prize. It's a gag gift.
Yeah, whatever that. Yeah, gag gift. That's
white
better.
elephant for New Year. And we can, even if we maintain at this time of the year, even if we gain a couple of pounds, like, it's much nicer to be like, oh, I gained 3 pounds. That's reasonable at the holidays, instead of, why didn't I do something? Like, why didn't I take a little bit of control back? So the rest of this episode, we are going to ask you to look at your calendar and take a little bit of time back and make some strategic choices. I actually did a Zoom meeting on WOLT Place. We only looked in place yesterday, where I laid out my upcoming 6 to 7 weeks. I recorded this earlier, obviously, but what I had coming up on the calendar, and I'll show you my math in your ears. Math ears.
All right, I can't wait. Let's do it.
Okay, and quite quickly, before we look at the math of it, you're asking, why does planning matter, Catherine? I don't even know. Like, what's that about? It reduces stress on your future self. It helps set realistic expectations. And it gives us a roadmap for success. Roadmaps, hooray. It also provides quantifiable feedback and helps us self-coach and pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, planning matters because, as Donald says, if you fail to plan,
you don't have a plan.
You don't have a plan.
Yeah. I would also just like to point out that if there's one thing that's more fun than math, it's roadmaps. Everyone loves reading a map.
Right. Okay. So before move forward with my calendar, why don't you go grab yours? Grab your Google Calendar, your Filofax, your printed calendar, whatever you got. Go grab your calendar.
Your Rolodex for some reason.
Yeah. All the old things. Okay. So take a look at your calendar. Look at the days that you have coming up where you have special or unusual events or happenings. Where are the birthdays? Where are the actual holidays? The book club that you have, sporting events, travels, day offs.
You've got visitors coming. You might have medical events. Maybe you have some alone time. Or maybe other people or family are in your way.
Yeah, that is big. And we can really be affected by other people's schedules. I notice, like, my schedule changes when Donald is working from home. Maybe you've got kids who are generally in school who are then home for a little while. Like, other people's schedules can definitely impact the way you manage your time. Do you have kid things coming up? People coming to visit? Mark all of that on your calendar. And that's actually what I ended up doing. And by looking at it, you might go like, oh my gosh, that's so much. I can't deal with anything. I'm not going to manage anything at all. Like, oh, you're right, Catherine. This was overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I looked at it for myself and I kind of put it into 2 categories. The first was, what are my actual, like, I'm definitely not going to track days. And what I know about myself is that when I go on vacation with family, I just don't track. As much as I say I'm going to, I'm not going to do it. So I came up with, I think it was like 13 days where I might not track at all. Like, that's a lot of days. The next thing were, what are the days where I might be questionable. I might use it as an excuse. I only live once. Oh, I'm kind of off schedule.
Yeah.
Not critical days at all, but just sort of not on my usual schedule. And for that, I came up with 11 days. Let's not look at the total math. I'm not looking at my page, but that ended up being like 23, 24 days out of like through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, if I just was like, YOLO, everybody, I'm not going to do anything. Like, that ended up being 46% of my days where I could potentially undo all the progress, all of the weight that I've lost this year, gain, if I just gave in to like, oh, it's too much to even consider. And by doing that, like, that was rather sobering.
Yeah, and that's 100% what I would have done, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. So if I just decide that I'm not going to pay attention on, like, oh, I have literally this week that we're recording it, there were 2 potentially stressful doctor appointments, one for our daughter and one for myself, that I put on my calendar where I was like, I could end up just stress eating. I could use it as an excuse to not, track for the whole day. And those were like just stressful reasons in the past that I would have just been like, it's crazy. Let's go get McDonald's. Like, so for me, paying attention to all of those excuse days versus the actual holidays that I'm looking forward to really was sort of eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
And if I give in to every single day that might be a little off schedule, I could be up on the scale. I did my own math, 6 to 10 pounds by January 1st.
Yeah.
Just for oh, I have the dentist. That's stressful. I'm going to eat. So I'm saying don't do it. And then
that's our advice. Don't do it.
The question becomes once you actually look at it, is you have the opportunity to negotiate with yourself a little bit. Do you really want to give all of that progress away just because there's a thing at Sally and Betty's school thing? Oh, there's a pizza party at school. Is that worth it?
Yeah. Look, everyone likes pizza, but is it really worth the jank, whatever, school party pizza for all of those calories that day? Maybe that's one that you don't have to participate in or super indulge in.
Right. So then once I looked at my 23, 24 days, I asked myself which days are actually food-based days that I really care about, that are the real, oh my gosh, I look forward to this every single year. I'm so excited. And when I did that for myself, there ended up only being 5 days out of the 23 days that were really special for me. So, and these aren't specifically for me, but just as an example, again, comparing janky kids pizza party day versus a dinner out with friends that you're really looking forward to. Comparing mandatory work lunch where you're getting boxed lunch, whatever, with a free cookie or whatever.
Yeah, or your boss invites you to the commissary, at your office.
Exactly. Or maybe that Christmas Eve cookie baking that you're doing with your kids. Which is the important one? Instead of just, I'm going to do it all. You know what? I'm going to forego indulging on this day because I really have this other day to look forward to.
Yeah. Or maybe for you, Thanksgiving is the meal of the year that you're waiting on. And maybe there's 3 or 4 or 5 dishes at Thanksgiving that you are absolute must haves, will make your day. So maybe that's your day. But maybe the next 5 days of leftovers is something that you pass on so that you're not, turning Thanksgiving into an entire week.
Right. And as I'm talking to the ladies, woo,
oh, hello,
Donald,
ladies.
go look at football things if you want to, Donald. A lot of people put a lot of, primary care providers, primary meal makers. The actual holiday itself is so stressful that you don't actually enjoy the food on the day.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're looking at it, you say you know what? Thanksgiving Day isn't really is so stressful. I don't get to enjoy anything. So I'm not going to go overboard on Thanksgiving, but the day after when everybody else is doing the Black Friday stuff, that's the day when I'm really going to indulge. Do you see how it is? It doesn't mean that the holiday itself is the priority, but maybe it's the day after that's the experience. So for me, again, I ended up negotiating myself down to 5 days that I was really looking forward to. And 4 of those days are actually the days that we're going to be on vacation with family. So knowing that I have those 5 days to look forward to means that hey, you know what? I'm going to eat in moderation through the next few weeks because they're not the big food holidays I'm looking forward to. That doesn't mean I have to eat at a deficit the whole time, but I'll be excited to go oh, you know what? I'm not going to eat the janky pizza at the kids' party because we are going on vacation and we're going to this amazing place and I'm so looking forward to all of these treats.
Yeah.
And when we're able to actually pay attention week by week, event by event to what we really want to prioritize, we can take back some of those calories and wake up on January 1st with less regret. Okay, so we're not going to micromanage the next number of weeks for you, but here are some questions you can ask yourself in terms of how to manage your holiday season. Like I said at the beginning, if you just do it as a free-for-all with 3,500 calories a day for the next 37 days, that could equate to a 15-pound gain. So the question becomes, again, what days are the super priority? I'm not going to track. I'm just going to enjoy indulgent days. For me, that ended up being 5 instead of 23. That is a big change. The next question is, what days might you want to eat at maintenance? We're going away actually for Thanksgiving week. Maybe that week I'll just plan on eating at maintenance. Like, I'm not going to go crazy super bananas, potatoes overboard. I guess just anytime I say bananas, just replace it with potato, Donald.
Yeah.
You can do that in post.
I'll do it in post.
Yeah, but what days might be maintenance days? Because for me, that might be 10 out of the next 37 days. And that's still better than just going way overboard for all 37 days.
Yeah, and then you can identify which days or weeks you might be able to eat at a deficit. Like, what are the days where you don't have, a food-based event, where it will be easy for you or easier for you to eat at a deficit, or hopefully there are some stretches of periods of time where it would be easier for you to plan ahead and really eat at a deficit at those times.
Right. So for me, Thanksgiving week, I'm considering a maintenance week. So I'm giving myself more calories every single day. That's super duper. The week after Thanksgiving, I'm planning on eating at a deficit. I actually have it on my calendar. There's nothing going on that week. I'll eat at a deficit. And into the following week, I'll also eat at a deficit. So again, I'm buying back, 10 days or so where I know I can control myself. And then after that, what days might require a policy or a plan? And again, for me, that's I'm going on vacation. I'm not going to be in my normal environment. I'm not going to have my food scale with me. We're going to be with family. I am not going to track, but I am going to have a policy or a plan for those times. And in a following episode, we are going to talk more about some policies that you can make for yourself. But the last vacation that I went on, my policy was I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I am going to focus on finding a salad every day. Like, that was the plan. It was find a salad. And for me, that helped kind of put some intention behind my meals instead of I'm on vacation. Everything is just party in my mouth. It's great. Finding a salad every day helped me, one, be full. It had some fiber in it. It was filling. So it was very helpful for me. So that was just one example of a plan or a policy that you can have. But we're going to talk more about that in the next episode.
Yeah, there are all kinds of strategies that you can use or policies that you can put in place for yourself in order to not just eat all the food all the time, every day.
Yeah, exactly. So what safeguards can you put in place for yourself? And that kind of falls into policies and plans. I know for me, for example, the day that we get back from vacation, again, my plan, my safeguard is I'm not going to pretend I'm going to eat at a deficit for a whole week. Like, as soon as I get back from vacation, maybe that's just eating at maintenance for the week after I get back from vacation.
Yeah.
So again, we'll talk more about that in the next episode. But what math can you, sort of take responsibility for in the coming weeks? In looking at all of the events that you have coming up, the changes to your schedule, which ones are you really looking forward to? What intention can you put behind it? Because when we go into those extremes of, I'm going to eat at a deficit every single day through New Year, I'm going to lose 15 pounds, it's going to be amazing. That's that extreme that we can't keep up. Or the other extreme of, forget it, it's too much. I can't even do one nice thing for myself. I'm just going to wake up on January 1st and deal with the drama of being up on 15 pounds on the scale. We don't have to go to those extremes. If we can buy back some days, buy back some quality, and take advantage of those downtimes where we don't have things going on, we can really be proud of ourselves for negotiating those important days. Because there have definitely been times times where I've eaten so much janky food that by the time the like actual event comes around,
Yeah.
I'm full and I don't want it. Like, oh no, I was really looking forward to this thing. I literally did that on vacation with my mom once and couldn't enjoy the big, fancy, expensive dinner because I had eaten like 15 scones that morning. Like, not even joking.
Yeah, or I've done the thing where I'm really looking forward to a sort of more rare treat or a dinner somewhere that I don't ordinarily go, where there's, fancy dishes that I'm really interested in. And then I fill up on, tortilla chips or something.
Oh my gosh.
Earlier in the day, because I'm like, well, I'm going to indulge in this meal later. I might as well eat a whole bunch of food all day long. And then I just eat normal every day. I can get them all the time snacks. And then the dinner comes and I'm like uncomfortable and can't really enjoy it. And it's not great.
I'm going to say it, on Bastille Day. On Bastille Day.
Yeah.
Vive la France. Literally ate a giant breakfast, all carbs, and then went to a fancy French restaurant for dinner and could not eat because my stomach hurt so much because I had eaten so many carbs. So I said to myself, sacre bleu, for some reason. I don't know what that even means, but
I don't either.
I'm sorry, en français. But yeah, so pay attention, buy some time back, and let us know how you do for your holiday season. What can you buy back? Let us know.
Yes, indeed. And, you are really ahead of the game just by continuing to listen to this podcast during the holiday season. We see our download numbers and we know that they always sort of dip this time of year and then jump back up right in January. So if you are listening right now, you are a true hero.
You are.
So thank you so much for listening. This episode is available on all of the major podcast platforms, and as are our most recent 300 episodes. And you can find all of our episodes all the way back to the beginning on YouTube or on our website at any time at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about WOLT Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. If you are thinking about joining the group and you're like, I'll just start in the new year. Well, I'm so bedeviled with time. Who has time for that?
Yeah.
Please check us out. We have weekly Zoom meetings. We have Zoom meeting archives. I did a full presentation on this episode with printables and charts. It's very exciting. I love PowerPoint. You can look at the math with your eyeballs instead of your ears.
Yeah.
Check us out. Come with your own plan. Pretend it's a potluck. Come with your own tracking plan, whatever you do, but stay for the fellowship and the connections that you can make and the support through the holiday season, especially if you have family who are not supportive of your weight loss or your health goals. It's just such a supportive community. I'm super proud of it. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if WOLT Place is right for you.
So please check it out. And you can also check us out on the social medias. We are on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin. Or you could sit down and type us an email. You can send us episode suggestions. Give us your tips for how you get through the holidays. I don't know. Catherine's like laughing to herself.
For some reason, I just imagine them like on a typewriter, like,
oh yeah,
boop. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
not how you send an email.
I imagine like that cat at the typewriter furiously typing away that GIF that's out there. So if you would like to give us your tips that you use to get through the holiday season, you can do all of those things to weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing after all of these years is still making a difference, but it helps other people find our podcast as well. As we are recording this, we have 693 star ratings.
Ooh, we're getting up to almost to 700.
Would you be a buddy and help us get to 700?
Oh, yeah.
Before New Year, please,
Yeah,
everyone.
5 stars, please.
Every time you leave a star, an angel gets its wings.
That's right.
And we would really appreciate it. Again, not only does it help other people find us, but it makes us just know that what we're doing every single week, it really means a lot to us. So please leave us rating and review. 5 stars. Thank you. Goodbye.
Also, another way you could really help us out that will cost you no money, it is free 99, is to just give us a shout out. If you know somebody who might get something out of the show and you tell them about us, it really helps the show grow. Or if you're on a Facebook group, a Discord server, or a subreddit that it makes sense to, it's a talking about health and fitness, weight loss, and you give us a shout out. It really does help the show grow, and we would be grateful.
We sure would. And if you are searching around on the dark web for recipes for thrice baked potatoes, just remember that Donald and I are an inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.